Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 25th day of September 2019. Well, lots of things have happened here in the last 24 hours since we last met, haven't they? I did my pendulum and just to see, because now a change has happened. Up until this time, my pendulum has been saying that the House would impeach, but the Senate would not. And now this morning I did it, and it said that both will do it. So I don't know. We'll see. Things could change as the investigation continues, and we see more of what's going to happen here. I think that the country will eventually come to, for the most part, a meeting of the minds on this, is what it feels like. The cards have been suggesting it. Over the last year, basically, they've been suggesting it, that it's really about understanding the truth and accepting the truth. It may be difficult to do for some people, but unfortunately, I think we're there. And at this point, we just need for the drama to be over. I mean, you've got psychiatrists that are coming out now and creating a whole new diagnosis, a diagnostic number in there in the DSM. It's like, presidential PTSD or something. I don't know what they're going to call it, but it's just so much, and it's too much. So perhaps we're headed in another direction now. So I don't know. If we have time here at the end, I'll go ahead and do another pendulum for you. I did this once before and showed you what I was getting. Its pendulums are cool. They're just another form of geomancy, really. That take advantage of ley lines and earth energies and whatnot to figure out what's going on energetically. You can also use them to as a dowsing rod, or in place of a dowsing rod if you're trying to find water. I had an uncle that was a dowser, and he also drilled wells, and so he would douse for the wells. My husband worked for a well driller for a while, and he was also a dowser. So the guy he worked for was a dowser, and so he would often douse for the wells and that he would put in. And, he was always right on, I use them sometimes, the dowsing rods, and they're fun to do. But I really like the pendulum for that kind of stuff. I don't know why. It's just kind of fun to walk around the property with a pendulum and just kind of stop and, see what it does. But it's cool with the dowsing rods too. I mean, you get a little bit different response, of course, when they start crossing and doing wacky things. It's like, okay, what's there? So anyhow. Well, again, today is the 25th, and so we're looking at a 7 energy. So balance, magic, divinity. Balancing polarity, shadow side of self with spirit. It can also be vertical balance as well. It's represented by the scales. So you can think of, bringing things to a rest, allowing things to come to rest or balance. You can think of it that way too. Whoops, there goes a card. Well, what was it? Well, it's a 3 of Cups, so remember that. I saw this video, excuse me, on Twitter. We just got back from our walk, and there's chemtrails out there, so I'm not breathing well again. Wish they'd stop doing that. But it was in a sports bar, and they had Nancy Pelosi up on the screen, and it was one of those big screens, and it was one of those, looks like a type of warehouse or something building, that it's in, because it's got super tall ceilings and there's like 1 million people in there. I didn't even know they made sports bars that big, but I guess they do. I don't know where this was, but the whole end of it had, big screen TV, and it was Nancy up there giving her speech, telling everybody what's going to happen. And as soon as she said it, the entire bar erupted in screams and jumping and praising and cheering. And oh my God, it was like, what? So that was interesting. We'll see how it goes, though. Let's go ahead, though, and let's draw our first card. Or wait, no, before we do that, I should tell you, so a little astrological information. We're still in Leo with the moon. Now we've moved into the 10th house of career. So that was one of the things I wanted to say, particularly with Saturn and Capricorn still, and also in the 3rd house of communications. you want to make sure how you come across today, that you're not coming across arrogant and pushy. Leo can sometimes be that way. And with career being in focus, you want to maybe kind of mind your words a little bit today, at your job or out in the world or whatever, and just sort of try to take a more reserved approach, maybe. To emphasize the generosity and humor and all of that Leo's known for. Try to focus there and not be so pushy. So there's that. Sun, Vulcan, Venus, Mercury still in Libra, also in the 11th house still. Mercury as well, but Mercury is still in the 12th. Everyone else is still in the 11th, but Mercury had moved into the 12th. So again, this may be a day, particularly with emotions being high. I'm sure there's people that aren't happy about what's happening, and so you might see some raised emotions there from that side of the coin. So this was really more of something I talked about yesterday concerning empaths. If you're empathic, this might be a day where you really need to just be by yourself if you find that emotions are just too much. It might even be that you need to stay offline. You may need to not watch the news. It just depends how you're feeling and how much is coming in on you. So just be aware that difficulty in large groups again today, if you have empathic awareness. So just take care of yourself, shield if you have to go out, if you have to be around a bunch of people. Just try to keep your focus narrow and constantly dissolving channels. If you happen to send your focus in a direction, a channel gets created. Dissolve it quickly, get rid of them, and keep your own focus to yourself today. If at all possible, you feel those other energies, just turn a blind eye to them. Don't look at them. Don't focus on them. Don't acknowledge them. Just stay to yourself and until this period is over with, and you should feel a little more comfortable after that. Hopefully. We'll see, though. This could just be a time here that we're just going to have to deal with. So if you're empathic like me. So anyhow, let's go ahead and take our first card and see what we have for today. And if it is your first time, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. I take the 13th card each time again, and I'll do 3 or 4 cards, and then I'll do a rune from the bag, and then I'll do a geomancy rune to end with. Oh, and if there's time, I may do the pendulum and show you what I'm getting. So anyhow, we have the Tower, of course, the 16th rune of the Elder Futhark, so another 7 energy like we have today. So balance, the resting point is up there where the lightning hits. Everyone's falling to their demise. Here we're letting go of things that no longer serve us. So this could have something to do societally, but it could also have to just do with something in our personal lives where we're just allowing some transition to happen today. The Tower is a really positive card. I love the one in the Thoth Tarot. It's in fact, let me show it to you. It's so fiery, it's so cool, and I think it is probably more in line with what's going on than I don't know, this particular one. I think it depicts it better, maybe, but let's see if I can find it really quick here. But it's like it's this mouth that's opening and it's the mouth of a dragon opening up and breathing fire and destroying the tower as he does it, right? And it is absolutely, hands down, the coolest card. And I don't know, I just think that it actually, where can I put these so that they don't fall everywhere? I have to take the time, though, and show it to you. Oh, there it is. Oh, yay. Looks like I think I dropped one. There's one there. Okay. Right? Got the all-seeing eye up there. And the tower is being blown away by the serpent down below. I love that card. Anyhow, let's do another card, though. You can see that everything's coming undone. And I think that it is, whether it's our perceptions or our belief system or what have you, things are coming undone now. Whatever we thought is not, whatever we maybe, or maybe it's just simply confirming what we already knew. But for some, you have those that understood that this change needed to happen, and you have others maybe that were reluctant to see it. And so with the tower, it's signaling that's the illusion is over, playtime is over, and now we need to get down to business and see things as they are instead of how we would like them to be. Well, we have the Magician, another card from the Major Arcana, the card number 1. This is about manifestation. We see the lemniscate above his head, so the cycles of life, reflecting the Akashic record, our past life, all of our lives that we experience in form. We see lilies and roses above, roses above and roses and lilies below. We see all 4 tools on the table representing all 4 elements. This is manifestation into form. The alchemical manifestation of form of air, fire, water, earth, and spirit. We see the sword on there for air, the chalice for water, the pentacle for earth, and the wand for fire. So will, air, emotions, and the physical form, all in balance with spirit. And with him holding his one hand high, the right hand high, that's with a scroll in it. So that's the knowledge of spirit manifested into form. Because he's pointing down, the as above, so below nature. He's pointing down into form. So what are we going to manifest now that we've blown the lid off the tower? What are we going to manifest? Are we going to manifest with all elements in balance? And that's and that's basically what we've been seeing here with the cards. I mean, for the last year, this has been this way, where we seem to be moving in the direction of illumination and awakening, and away from deception and conflict, and more in the direction of shared purpose. Now, it doesn't mean that we're always going to agree. We won't. There's always going to be the need for the inner need for, the friction within to create and to argue about what we're going to create. But we're all going to do it, see in shared purpose. That's the whole point of ascension. It's not just to ascend to a different density of experience, right? But it's to understand why we're doing it, because in other words, playtime is over, right? It's time to come together now in shared purpose, because that's what we are. We're the creator manifested into form. How could we be anything but unified? And so all of this struggle, all of this, control and power and all of this stuff that we've been exploring for thousands and thousands of years, well, it's time to let it go. There are those that argue that there are higher level beings that sort of created this prison, if you will, for us, so they could keep control of us, but that's over now. And we need to move on to something that's more awakened and more aware of who we are and just why it is we're here. And it's not here to gain power over someone else or anything else. It's here to raise it all up together. So let's do a third card. Well, the Knight of Pentacles. We're manifesting a new future forward. The Knight is a dynamic individual, a little bit older than the Page. A Page is usually considered to be a student or someone, of youthful potential, undeveloped potential, sort of aligns with the Fool in a way, with all that undeveloped potential. He's just ready to but it's a higher, more involved, instead of more soul oriented like the Fool is. This is the Page or the Princess or the daughter, whichever it is that type of deck you have. It could be any of those. That's just a very youthful energy. They're very studious. It can mean the birth of a child, bringing something to fruition, a message, any of that. But then you come to the Knight, who's the next level in the court, and you have somebody who's out there. He's passionate. He's going out, and he's or she, if it's Brianna of Tar, then you have an individual who's very dynamic, who's going to go out and be protective. Sometimes, though, it was the opposite, and they would go out and rape and pillage. So it just kind of depends on what the orientation was. You had the Knights Templar, who they were people that were involved in the banking, and they were also involved in other things as well. But here, and that may be what this is, but here you have a new way forward that affects our foundation. And of course, that's also going to be legacy and finances and security and all of that. But it's the physical aspect of life as opposed to the will, the intellect, and the emotional aspect of life. This is about, our grounding and our home and our legacy and our income and our work. The community in which we live. You could say it's even society, the society in which we live. So there's a collective feeling to it. And it seems to me, let's do one more card. It just seems to me that what we have here, particularly with what's been going on over the last 24 hours or less than 24 hours, what we have is we've blown the lid off of our illusions. And now things are getting real. And now decisions have to be made. And we have to manifest something new. And it's going to affect our foundation. And so we can do this in shared purpose, or we can do this apart. But if we do it apart, we'll never, ever, ever fix what's so-called wrong with this country. So in any event, let's do one more card. And I don't know if I said this, but I take the 13th one for randomness sake only. Other readings, I just lay them out, but I just want everything to be random. I don't want anything to, I don't know why, but I do. Anyhow, okay, so we have the 8 of Cups. This is essentially a card of moving away from emotions that no longer serve us. However, we can also look at this in a different way. Because the cups are upright and not turned over, I think that we are well prepared with our emotions to go into the future as well. In truth, they may not serve us anymore, but they've allowed us to embrace change in a way, perhaps, that, in fact, we might even want to put it before the night. We could look at it that way, where whatever let's put it in between the Magician. Let's do it that way. Let's read it that way. So we'll have the Tower first. Yeah, I like that better. Let's do the Tower first. So we've got the change and transition. We are letting go of things that aren't working for us anymore. We're letting things settle out. We're ready to transform and transition into something new. Let me put these cards up over here. And we're ready to let go of emotions that no longer serve with the 8. So that's 15, that's 6. Is that right? 7 and 8 is 15, yeah. And so that's a 6 energy total there. So higher self's informing the process to then move away, and we're ready to meet new challenges emotionally. That this signals this could be an emotionally challenging time. But if we try to manifest something new in balance, bringing all energies into balance, all elements into balance, we can manifest a new way forward. One that redefines our very foundation together, but one that is reflective of a greater level of harmony, perhaps, than what we're currently experiencing. So yeah, I think I'm comfortable with that particular order. So we'll alternate the, well, see, we had a 6 then, didn't we? And then with the magician, that brings it to 7. There's not a number associated with the night. And so now we're back to 7, which is the energy of today. So we're all going to align today too. So this is going to be cool. So it's some transition, but we're well prepared. We're ready to meet the emotional challenges that it could portend. And for some of us, it's going to be. And let's face it, even if we're for this, okay, even if we're people that don't support the guy in the Oval Office, all right, this is still going to be an emotional roller coaster. It's going to be a challenging time for everyone. Look, when you go to impeach a president, oh my Lord, that's awful. But by the same token, you cannot allow him to sit there and commit crimes in front of you either. I don't know. So I pulled Rado, Soul Journey, Rhythmic Motion, Working in Harmony with Others. So it's also the 5th rune of the Elder Futhark, so it denotes change. I'm going to draw this one actually, though, so you can see how it combines together with other runes to create itself. That's the interesting part about runes, is that contained within them, they're often just bind runes in and of themselves. But here we have Rado, and I'll draw it out badly like I do. So there's Rado. We start out with Isa, which is alignment. And no, it's not curved like that, but you know. So we've got Isa, which is alignment and spirit. It's also the 11th rune of the Elder Futhark, so it's about awakening and illumination. It's the Norn rune of the present moment. So again, you're talking about alignment in who you are, finding your still point and aligning there. And then next you can see Laguz, which is flow. Next we see Vunyo, which is the wish rune. Well, it doesn't do that. Okay, let me draw that one again. I'll scratch it out. There we go. It doesn't extend past the line there, but I don't know. I can't see what I'm doing. So there's Vunyo, and that's joy and fellowship and the wish rune and all of that. Harmony, fellowship again. And then we have Kenaz, which is the light of spirit, focusing outward or extended outward. So you can see the different energies that comprise Rado. And basically what this is telling us is we're talking about our soul's journey in form. And whether or not we're going to go through that experience together or separately from one another. Rado is suggesting we do it together, that it's the rhythmic motion that we take together, that it's the harmonious motion, the harmonious connection that we have, that we go forward together. Think rider and horse. If you have, you know, if the rider is not cooperating with the horse isn't going to cooperate with the rider. If the rider is too authoritarian, the horse may try to buck him off. So we have to be able to come into some kind of easy flow with one another to try to go somewhere, you know, to get anywhere together. But it has to be together. That's the part that, you know, some of us don't want to acknowledge. We're the United States of America. We're not supposed to be divided. It doesn't mean we won't argue, though. We will. It doesn't mean there won't be conflict. We just need to remember our purpose. And it looks like Rado is trying to remind us of that. Well, let's look at, what do we have here? So we've got 1 dot for fire, 1 for air, oh, 2 for water, and 1 for earth. So we've got Pur, which is unstable energy. It's youthful, you know, like young boy energy. You know how that is, unstable, lack of impulse control. I will draw it out for you so you can see what it looks like. We've got a active influences for fire and air, and then we come to water. It's a passive influence. And then we have a single dot down there for earth at the bottom. So an active influence for that. But the passive influence for water indicates a lack of focus and a lack of impulse control. And so poor, again, is about youthful energy. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not really as negative as say Rubius would be. But if you look at its counterpart, Puella, that's a young girl. You're going to look at, I mean, these are happy, you know, happy-go-lucky in a way. Whereas I think it's either Taurus or Libra, maybe, that Puella, maybe it's Taurus. I forget the sign that governs Puella. I'll have to look and see. But and I'll let you know tomorrow, or I'll put it in the comments what it is. But you're talking about Mars energy for poor, but you're talking about maybe it's either Libra. Well, in any event, you're talking about a lack of balance with Puella, the opposite of that. It's Poor's counterpart. And so you're kind of looking at unstable energy that's youthful, that maybe is not as adult as it could be, you know, is not had enough experience to try to, you know, use that to inform maybe the choices that you're making. So there may be just a little lack of impulse control here that's going on today that could be underlying some of this that we're experiencing. So again, probably what's leading us to this moment. I mean, you could look at this as their willingness to go forward. I don't know. I don't know. But the thing is if we're experiencing this in our personal life, then clearly there's something that needs to change in our lives. You know, maybe we have not had the right focus. Maybe we've been too, you know, distracted from things we want to do, playtime versus getting down to responsibilities. Lilith yesterday was, I forget which one, was it in the third house or something? More concerned with playtime than taking care of responsibilities. And today, we're looking at in the fourth house, you know, the Black Moon Lilith is reflecting a disruptive influence in a family setting. So there's this, if we want to think family, we can think about it of just our basic family structure. But I think that that's aligning with the tower, where maybe in this case, maybe Lilith's disruptive influence needs to be there, you know, so that we cut through the illusion of everything that's going on. We are, though, prepared for the emotional challenge ahead. Now that we've, you know, let things settle out and we know the direction we're going here with the tower, we're well prepared for that. So even though it's going to be a challenge, it's not going to be something that we're not capable of dealing with, you know, and embracing the change that's likely going to happen. Then we come to the magician. So now that we've done this, what are we going to manifest going forward? And it's telling us with the Knight of Pentacles that what we're going to manifest is a new way forward together in shared purpose. And it's reinforced by Rido, rhythmic motion, and you know, rider and horse, and again, just moving forward together in unison. Our soul journey, basically, because that's what the soul journey is really all about, isn't it? It's about understanding who we are together, and or that we are actually one. You know, that we are the Creator manifested into form. That we're just little points of light of the Creator. When we're not focused into form, we're all part of that same energy. You see, so this playground we're in, this dream we're experiencing, that's all it is. It's just an experience. It doesn't change who we are, no matter how much we might try. But anyway, let's do this and just see. Let's let it come to rest. So, is the guy in the Oval Office going to be impeached by the House? Will he be impeached by the Senate? In the past, that would have changed. In the past, I was getting yes. This way is yes for me. This way is no. A circle is it either a decision hasn't been made or we don't know. It's not something isn't clear yet. And what I was always getting was yes for the House and no for the Senate. This morning, however, before I started this, I just tried it just to see, because since there's been a change, right, now that this decision has been made, right? So now I did this, and now it's coming out yes for both. You're starting to see Republicans start to come out and say things. You're seeing Fox News say things. You're seeing different people you would not expect. You're starting to see maybe even just a softening with some of them. Well, I didn't know about that. Mitch McConnell says, well, I don't believe that. I think he did, but whatever. But it's a change. The Senate, for the first time, all 100 senators are allowing the whistleblower complaint to be given to the House committees in its entirety. So no one is standing in the way of this. And prior to this, they would have. So I think you're seeing this happen collectively. So it will be nice to not be dealing with the collective aspect of self so much. We can get back to just doing, the self and what we need to work on. But just remember, whether this is societal based or whether this is inner based, it can go either way. What's applying to us collectively can always apply to us, internally into our internal lives here, our personal lives. Whether this is about, manifesting something new just in our lives, our personal lives, in terms of relationships. Relationships are in such focus right now that it could have to do with that. And we're simply going forward together in shared purpose a little bit more. Now, whether that is in your family, maybe you've resolved some family issues, maybe there's been some issues on the work front, maybe it meant a job change, and maybe now you're in a better situation. But just understand, if that's happening for you, then that's something that you're going to be emotionally prepared to deal with. Whatever change is on the horizon, you've lost the illusion that was keeping you in the place you were in. And now you're just ready to move on, into something that's maybe a little bit more clear. So anyhow, I think that does it for today. I like I say, if there's any more changes with respect to the pendulum, I'll let you know, and I'll do them here for you so you can see it. My pendulum work is consistent. I don't know why, but it always has been. I don't care what pendulums I acquire. My directions remain the same. So I've never had a pendulum that is an outlier. I've never had one that doesn't say the same thing as the others. So it's just odd, I make sure I don't move. I just, and I just ask the question. Oftentimes I ask the question silently. So, but whether I do it out loud or silent, it really doesn't matter. I'm getting the same information each time. So I don't know. Maybe I just align well with pendulums. I don't know. Anyhow. So anyhow, we'll see you tomorrow. Click subscribe here. I'd love you to do that. I'd love you to come back and join our Tarot and Rune family. And no, that doesn't mean I'm going to send you anything, because I'm not. I don't do lists. That's just, I don't do that. But check out the blog too over at imsteppingaside.com. It's a witch blog. It's got stuff on cannabis though, and Reiki, and being an empath, and all kinds of stuff on it. So it's fairly eclectic, but it basically reflects the things I think about anyway, and that I'm involved in. But in any event, add comments here if you want. We're just here to learn. There's lots of ways to interpret this stuff. So again, I keep saying this, in hopes that people will say something there and offer another interpretation. It could be something that someone else listening reads the comments and it just opens everything up for them. So honestly, if you're learning tarot, you want to ask questions. If you maybe I can answer them, maybe I can't, maybe I can refer you to a book that I found to be really helpful, or another tarot reader that's really helpful. Barbara Moore's one. She's really great. Just lots of people that have been involved in this and writing about it far longer than I have. And who really have a wonderful sense of this. You know, if you're looking for a more hermetic type of an experience, there's that out there as well. Lon Milo DuQuette wrote a book about the Thoth Tarot, which is wonderful. There's other books about it. So I think that you know, this can be a place for learning and just a place to gather and learn about tarot and runes. And you know, if you're looking for runes, Diana Paxson is a really great writer. Lots of different ones are out there. Geomancy, I think his name's John Michael Greer, is a more current writer. Is it Stephen Arroyo? I'm not sure. There's somebody else named Stephen that I think has done some stuff too. There's also older work, one attributed to Agrippa, which people argue and say, oh no, that's not Agrippa, that's someone else. I don't know who it is. I think maybe Eliphas Levi thinks it's not him. The geomancy work is not actually done by Agrippa, but whatever, you know, it's assigned to him, so it doesn't really matter, I guess, at this point until we actually find out who it is. So, you know, this is just a place to come and learn about this stuff and to share your own experiences, and I hope you'll do that. So, in any event, I will see you tomorrow. Be good to yourself, be good to one another. Thank you so much for coming by, and blessed be.